कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, EFL spending thousands daily on fuel usage. New fire number aimed to avoid confusion. And farmers face delay due to mill breakdown.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
As the country is currently going through the dry spell, Energy Fiji Limited's dependency on fossil fuel has also increased. Chief Executive Hasmukh Patel says the current bill per day for fossil fuel stands at around $350,000. He adds this is becoming a costly affair, and the recent drop in demand in electricity has not helped. Kritika Kumar reports.
Rain plays a major role for EFL, and the lack of it in recent time has seen a massive spike in the dependence and cost of fuel.
So with that high proportion coming from fossil fuel, as I speak right now, our fuel bill is around, I would say, about $350,000 a day. Otherwise, if you generate more from hydro, then it comes down to about, say, 250,000. So it's about 100,000 a day. You know, that's the impact, you know, if you drop it by 10 or 15% hydro.
Patel adds the last few months have been dry, and the EFL's Nandari Vatu hydroelectric scheme has been operating on 25% capacity.
But on a daily basis, we are able to run at least 5 to 10 megawatts instead of the 20 megawatts or 40 megawatts. We've got 2 machines in Nandari Vatu, so in full capacity, we have a lot of water, we can do 40 megawatts. But right now, we are operating at about, say, 25% capacity in the dry season.
Minister for Infrastructure Chone Usumate says, during the rainy season, more than 60% of Fiji's electricity is from renewable sources.
The cost of fuel, the impact of buying fuel in our economy in terms of the difference between our trade balance, amount of money that's going to spend on fuel. If we can harness renewable energy in this country, it's going to have benefits. Due
to the pandemic, the decrease in global demand for oil has seen a decrease in the prices as well, which has brought some relief for EFL, but that is not enough. Hasmukh Patel has assured Fijians that they have enough capacity to meet the electricity demand and will continue to ensure the country and its people do not suffer from blackouts. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Confusion amongst Fijians on the number to dial during emergencies will be a thing of the past after the launch of the new fire helpline 910. Local Government Minister Pramila Kumar says every minute counts when responding to a fire emergency, and it is critical for all Fijians to conform to the change as it can save lives and reduce property damage. Details with Chosai Nanunga.
Pramila Kumar says that an influx in the number of fire cases in recent months could be due to Fijians not knowing the number to dial during emergencies.
Launch of the new 910 fire emergency helpline relies on the support of all the parties and stakeholders, including the private sector and government. I urge everyone to work together to assist the NFA team in creating awareness on the National Fire Emergency Helpline number 910.
NFA Chief Executive Pua Mausoane believes the helpline will shorten response when a fire breaks out.
Too many times have we received complaints about late calls to fire, or people do not know what number to call. Today, you can call 910 for fire and another emergency.
Structural fire cases have increased in recent months, which is of a concern for the authority.
There have been 84 structural fires this year as compared to 70 during the same period in 2019. Since the recent commissioning of Lemi Fire Station, and I recall vividly it was 12th of August, NFA attended to 14 residential fires and 1 commercial fire, so the number is 15.
The authority is optimistic that the new helpline is a stepping stone in the continuous improvement of its emergency call service and to adhere to the highest performance standards in the near future. Chosai Nanunga, FBC News.
2 brothers aged 9 and 11 drowned while swimming at Nasilai Nakelo in Tailevu yesterday. The 2 resided at the Nakelo District Primary School compound and when swimming with their 26-year-old babysitter. It is believed the younger brother was swept away by strong currents and the older brother attempted to rescue him but both drifted into deeper waters and disappeared. Their bodies were later retrieved by the villagers. The drowning toll currently stands at 25 compared to 23 for the same period last year. Frustrated lorry drivers and cane farmers are seeking answers from the Fiji Sugar Corporation as they wait outside the Lautoka and Rarawai sugar mills to have their cane crushed. Speaking to FBC News outside the Lautoka mill, the drivers and farmers said they had been lining up for over 10 hours. As Felipe Naikaso reports, the FSC has acknowledged issues with the mills, but they are being rectified.
This is the current scene outside the Lautoka mill. Many of these farmers and lorry drivers have been here since Sunday, hoping the mill will resume crushing soon.
When the mill started operating this season, it hasn't been consistent. There has also not been any clear explanation from FSC regarding the mills or for us who are waiting here.
They say it will also be costly for them if they returned without offloading their cane.
So they're giving us the quota from the bar mill to go to Lautoka mill. Here, plenty lorries are here, but we haven't got any kind of food, anything here sort of. So we're waiting for. This time is 3 o'clock today. We are waiting for the party to come to unload the cane.
Nothing is clear from FSC. Yesterday I was told to go to Mba, and when I got there, they told me to come to the Lautoka mill. So that's a waste of money for us.
The Fiji Sugar Corporation say the Lautoka mill stopped crushing last Wednesday evening due to damaged and burnt out boiler cables, and then the Rarawai mill cane carrier head shaft also broke on Friday, causing the mill to stop crushing. Meanwhile, the FSC has also assured that both the Lautoka and Rarawai mills would be back crushing later today. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wangai-Nambete believes the mental health effects of the COVID-19 lockdown have not been as severe in Fiji as seen in many other countries. While launching the Mental Health Awareness Month today, Dr. Wangai-Nambete said they've noted a decrease in attempted suicide and suicide cases when compared to the past year. Vinina Rakautonga reports the Health Ministry has recorded 72 suicide cases in 8 months, compared to 89 for the same period last year.
Fijians are encouraged to work together during these trying times to tackle mental health problems.
If you actually look right across the world at the moment, there are many first world countries that are suffering from a mental health perspective because of continual lockdowns. And we are blessed in that respect because we've been very definitive, and in that way the community is back to its new normal.
Dr. Wangai-Nambete says Fiji of all countries should be commended for the efforts made in containing the virus.
From what is happening all around the world, that fear and anxiety that COVID-19 brings is putting pressure in first world countries. And we are fortunate that we have no community transmission, so that allows our children to go to school. That allows us to go to work. That allows us to be able to enjoy the game of rugby and soccer on the weekend. And ultimately, in some ways, helps with our mental health.
Psychologist Selina Kuruleta says the awareness on mental health needs to get the attention it deserves.
We shouldn't only be thinking of our Mental Health Month or Suicide Prevention Day only in September and October, but I challenge everyone in this room and those watching and listening that we need to make every day a Mental Health Day.
Mental Health Awareness Month was launched today by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with Lifeline Fiji and Empower Pacific. Vinina Rakautonga, FBC News.
Up ahead, new survey result puts Fiji in strong position. And Plastic-Free Fiji competition winners awarded. Stay with us.
मैं टोटली रेडी पे रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
The use of organic fertilizers in Fiji is extremely limited, and the Ministry of Agriculture is working to develop organic fertilizers or compost that people can use in gardens. However, the ministry says it has seen an increase in a number of online entities selling what they claim is organic fertilizer and is urging farmers to be vigilant when purchasing such fertilizers. Lena Reese has more.
In an effort to get farmers the best in organic fertilizers, the Agriculture Ministry hopes to launch its home gardening initiative this month.
These naturally occurring substances, and rather than it being taken to landfill, bring it to our composting facility, let science do its work, nature do its work, and actually turn it into compost that can be then packaged and given out to the farmers. And we intend to do that for free.
Samisoni Enterprises, the parent company of Hot Bread Kitchen, are one of many organizations that have begun to sell fertilizers they claim is organic to farmers.
We bring into the equation the biological side of things, which is our solution. And what our solution does, it revives the soil.
However, the apparent organic fertilizer called Carry-On needs chemical-based foliate to activate its properties. But Koroisavo maintains the fertilizer distributed by Samisoni Enterprises is organic and has been given the go-ahead by the Agriculture Ministry.
We send them samples for testing. They are the ones who've given the green light, hence why the product is here.
When contacted by FBC News, the Fijian Competition and Consumer Commission has refused to comment on the matter, saying they have not received any complaints. Lena Rees, FBC News.
Being ranked the safest place to travel for holiday next year will bode well for Fiji when the borders reopen. A recent survey by Tuolane has given Fiji the top rating, and Minister for Trade and Tourism Faiz Koya says this will be a key point to highlight during the marketing campaigns. Ritika Pratap has more.
The new rating has placed Fiji in a better position than a lot of other developed nations.
It's quite a feat to actually do that, to be ranked, as number one, especially with all the developed nations around the world that are fighting so hard for the tourism space.
Koya says the strict health protocols put in by the Fijian government was key in achieving this recognition.
If you do a comparison, I think it sits at about 84% in terms of the being in compliance with WHO and just generally the health aspect of it. And we sit at about 84, which is higher than some of the EU countries.
While Fiji is keen to allow the re-entry of Australian and New Zealand tourists, the Australian High Commissioner to Fiji says all due process will be followed.
Our priority is to make sure that once travel does resume between our countries, it's safe. Because the last thing we want to do is be responsible for bringing coronavirus back into Fiji.
Fiji is the only Pacific Island country among 14 others in the world to be ranked the safest place to travel in 2021. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
5 young and innovative individuals were today awarded for their participation in the Plastic-Free Fiji competition. The competition was designed in line with the government's effort of a plastic-free Fiji, where Fijians were asked to develop practical alternatives of plastic bags. Koroi Tandulala has more.
I'm Darren. Ministry for Economy Permanent Secretary Makireta Konrote says Fijians need to adapt to the changes introduced by the government.
And it is this level of thinking that will help us craft solutions that will safeguard our environment and our day-to-day lives.
The top 3 winners shared the same sentiments on the need for Fijians to value our pristine environment and completely eliminate the use of plastic bags.
This was also an opportunity to give back to our traditional ways and move with the time, the time of being environmentally friendly.
Single-use plastics are very bad for the environment, and we should be more concerned, especially because we are really lucky to be from a country that is really beautiful and is filled with unique wildlife that we need to actually protect.
We need to completely ban plastic, no matter what kind of plastic is this, because to people who is not educated, they will see as even though it's 1.5, people will see as a plastic. So we need to cut it down, like 100%, no plastic at all. We need to look for alternative and go for that alternative.
In an effort to combat climate change, government has ramped up actions by reducing import duty on biodegradable kitchenware and tableware from 32 to 0%. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
Turning overseas, California's fire season has got off to a dangerous start, fueled by fierce winds and record heat. More than 24 fires are burning across the state, one of them sparked by a gender reveal party gone wrong. And Koroi joins us now with the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Coming up after the break. Businesses urged to diversify products. And in growing Fiji, more locals to be engaged in road rehabilitation. Stay with us.
Bula nadang go aprosa ng garse, go erkraki. Do televeo na barong na Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
Leading business tonight, businesses need to start looking at niche markets and create products that are in demand. Fiji Commerce and Employers Federation Chief Executive Kameli Batiweti says technology and food are the two main businesses that are thriving at present. Batiweti says some of their members are diversifying, which will help them recover from this tough period. He adds the members hope the situation will normalize soon.
Hoping that this downturn is not for too long. We're hoping that in the not too distant future, everyone would start to begin to revive. It's easier for MSMEs to pivot.
Government's 30 million trees in 15 years initiative has prompted local hardwood and timber companies to beef up their respective reforestation processes. Fiji Hardwood General Manager Shakil Maharaj says despite the hike in commercial logging activity, the company has imposed stringent measures to ensure trees are replanted after every harvest. Maharaj says they are now engaging landowners to replant mahogany, which will also complement the tree planting initiative.
It is an ongoing initiative because we have to create cycle of harvesting. Our mahogany takes 30 years to harvest, so by the time we finish off one of our harvesting sites, we reforest and we move on to the next forest to harvest.
Saniva from HFC Bank joins us now with the latest from the money market.
The South Pacific Stock Exchange noted a decrease of 0.67% in its overall market value last week. 23 transactions were noted with a volume of 74,000 shares, accumulating to more than $79,000 in value traded. This saw the aggregate market capitalization close at $3.45 billion. On the foreign exchange front, the US dollar held on to small overnight gains as investors weighed whether an accommodative turn from the European Central Bank later this week could raise the euro while the pound nursed losses due to Brexit uncertainty. Most analysts don't expect a change in the bank's policy stance, but are looking to the message in its inflation forecast and whether the bank seems concerned by the euro's strength. Elsewhere, Japan's economy shrank an annualized rate of 28.1% in April to June, more than predicted and creating its worst post-war contraction. That's all from HFC Bank for now. Vinaka.
Looking at today's local exchange rates as set early this morning, as the US dollar held on to minor gains overnight, it forced the Fiji dollar down against the Chinese yuan, the Aussie dollar and the PNG kina. Meanwhile, our dollar was on the rise versus the New Zealand dollar, the Japanese yen and the euro. And now we take a look at commodity prices were mixed. Crude oil prices dropped to $39 per barrel. Gold was down at $1,930 per ounce, but silver made a tiny gain, closing at $26.89 an ounce. In growing Fiji, more rural Fijians will find jobs thanks to a scheme to employ local people for road rehabilitation projects developed by the Fiji Roads Authority, the Asian Development Bank, and the World Bank. FRA CEO Jonathan Moore says the contractors have been advised to employ workers from nearby villages to provide them with a source of income. Moore adds this will also upskill people in rural communities, opening new pathways for them to pursue qualifications in relevant fields.
It's trying to build the capacity in Fiji. These people that can get trained through ADB works with us, they could become business holders themselves in the future, and they could work as independent contractors. That's the plan, to increase the capacity of the Fiji market. And if we can do this through our works with ADB and the World Bank, it's all to the good, really.
And that's it from Business Tonight. Jamie joins you now with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Kuroi, and good evening in sports tonight. They level banks on younger players. And FNRL focused on rehabilitating Maya. There's some more coming up.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
The Tailevu rugby team have a lot to play for in the Skipper Cup this weekend. Going into the second round of competition, the team is out to avenge their 19-6 loss to Namosi at Thompson Park at the start of the season, while gunning for a much-needed win to move out of the relegation zone. Caroline Tavi has more.
Tailevu is banking on their young players in this week's clash.
For the Tailevu team, it's a young and there's not a lot of experienced players in the team. So every week we're trying to work on a combination that will take us through the games.
Overall, we don't have any style Tailevu compared to other teams where they have the Nruas and rapid rugby. But we have grown our own players and we are trying to nurture them. Come the next round, we can battle with the big giants.
As host this time around, Tailevu is hoping to pick up some home ground support.
Namosi will be a tough battle for Tailevu. We're looking forward to the game since Namosi beat us in Thompson Park, the first round. And we are looking to give Namosi a good run.
Tailevu hosts Namosi at Ratu Park on Saturday at 3 p.m. Carleni Tavi, FBC Sports.
Former Naita Syria under-19 player Kresi Maya has been given a lifeline after joining the Fiji National Rugby League's Nambour Broncos, but has not been approved to take to the field yet. Maya's return to rugby league comes after he was handed a 6-year suspension by the Fiji Rugby Union for foul play on a match official last month. Tali Materekula reports.
Fiji Rugby Union Chief Executive John O'Connor says while they respect the decision made by the FNRL to accept Maya for a team, they hope good sense will prevail on the type of message being sent to the players.
It's unfortunate that they've come out and say that they'll allow him to play. We hope that it doesn't send the wrong message to young players and players playing both codes, that it's okay to assault a match official.
O'Connor is also looking for support from the Fiji National Rugby League in pushing for zero tolerance of violence in both codes.
I've written to the CEO and the chairman of National Rugby League. They're seeking their support in making sure that we don't promote a culture that entertains violence against our match officials.
Rugby League Interim Chief Executive Don Natambe says they do not want to send the wrong message that violence is accepted. He says their focus will be on building Maya's character and discipline on and off the field.
I think Rugby League is more concerned about the players' holistic well-being rather than just playing on a Saturday. And for that reason, his return will be determined upon a lot of factors, including a rehab process that he will have to undergo.
When or if Maya returns to play will depend on the FNRL discussions about the 19-year-old's eligibility to compete in the sport. Tali Materekula, FBC Sports.
Dreams are beginning to turn into reality for 21-year-old Hoskin Sotutu after being named in the All Blacks squad for the 2020 Investec Rugby Championship. The AMPS Industries Nasinu football side is looking to field its best 11 when they meet Lambasa in round 10 of the Vodafone Premier League this weekend. Head coach Tangi Vonolangi says Lambasa is an A-class team and they need to take their finest players for the match. Despite Lambasa's inconsistent performance in the league so far, Vonolangi believes the Mbambasing Lions will bounce back stronger on Sunday.
Lambasa is down, but they're not out yet. We'll take the best team to go to Lambasa, and we hope to give Lambasa a good game.
Basketball Fiji plans to host its Mbula Hoops program in more towns around the country. The program is to help children from the age of 6 to 14 learn the basics of the sport. Following its success in Suva, Basketball Fiji has taken the program to Lautoka. Chief Operating Officer Laisiasa Puomau says they plan to take the program to Nandi and Nasinu, but that will be dependent on the availability of courts.
We're encouraged with the number of children that have come out to register for the program. We're into week 6 of the program, and the program will be ending in 4 more weeks. We're also excited for the opportunity to have the program extend to Lautoka.
The first ever Women's T20 Club Cricket League will commence on the 19th of this month at the Suva Grammar School ground. Cricket Fiji Chief Executive Alex Conrote says the T20 League is part of their development initiative to encourage more women participation in the sport. Conrote adds the interest shown by women so far has been overwhelming.
We started with 6 teams in the beginning of the year. We now have 14 teams, possibly 16 by the 19th of September. So it's been really great. What's more heartening is that it's not just the young women that are coming to play. We have those who've always wanted to play cricket but never had the opportunity. So we have mothers and daughters playing for different teams.
In play of the day, a look at the winning try in the North versus South game over the weekend. With time up on the clock and down by 4 points, the South opted for an aerial attack, much to the advantage of Will Jordan. That's it from Sports Tonight. Coming up in new media, the U.S. Justice Department is expected to file an antitrust lawsuit against Google this month. Details after the break.
Hi, Bula. I'm Selai from Nandi. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
And Angie joins us now with the latest in weather.
Hello to you and welcome to the Weather World. Hope you enjoyed the long weekend under windy weather. The conditions did stay put throughout. And so for the day, it definitely began better than it finished. A very bright one indeed. Now looking out to the other centers in the west, the clouds were low hanging with beautiful sunny skies. Your trip to the west will not be a disappointment. Eastwards from Pekhaba to Suva, lovely is the word. September weather is actually nice and cool. And up north, more sunny chills for us to enjoy. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. Now turning to the tides, high tide at 10:46 p.m. with low tide at 5:09 a.m. Sunrise at 6:07. For tomorrow, well, there is high chance of showers. The sunny spells will be in the hideout for some time. Tomorrow's temps, Suva and Savu will be the coolest centers at 20 degrees, while the rest in the lower 30s. And looking further on to Thursday, the weather looks like it will be back to normal after a day's rain. That's all the weather news from my end. Have a great Tuesday evening. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fiji on Pulse We Are, should players banned from playing rugby union be allowed to play for rugby league?
I do not agree with the fact that he was suspended from Fiji Rugby Union then went on to join Rugby League.
I think it was good he was given a second chance by the FNRL.
He deserves a second chance and I support his move to Rugby League.
I think it's good because he's given a second chance to play for the Rugby League.
And recapping the main stories for tonight, EFL spending thousands daily on fuel usage. New fire number aimed to avoid confusion, and farmers face delay due to mill breakdown. These stories and others tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. A poll question we're asking: should manufacturers caught breaching single-use plastic bag ban be penalised? Visit our FBC website to answer. And our shot of the day, first one for the week, a time-lapse of a beautiful afternoon in Korvatu Lambasa, captured by Nitendra Prasad. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, from the team and I, stay safe. Manda.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.